and input costs, output costs, etc.
Kavita.
Good morning, Governor. Here. Kavita Krishnan from CNBC आवाज. सर, आपने पॉलिसी स्टेटमेंट जो है वहाँ पर आपने कहा है कि सरकार को जो एग्रीकल्चरल सपोर्ट प्राइसेस है उसमें बढ़ोतरी को किसी तरह लिमिट करने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए. क्या कोई खास कमोडिटीज पर आपकी नजर है जिस वजह से महंगाई बढ़ सकती है?
No, I think it's a statement of fact rather than a suggestion. I think government has to take a view on that based on its own sense. Statement of fact is that there is a strong correlation between increases in minimum support prices and resulting food inflation as well as overall inflation. So that's just pointing out that fact, and that if that price increase is limited, it will help. Now, the broader point on minimum support prices has been that support has focused only on a couple of commodities in a limited area in India. That broader, if it's a form of insurance, broader support across commodities and across India would ensure that the decisions in terms of growing would be made in a more effective way. If you support only a narrow set of commodities, and it's only in a few states, then those states tend to overproduce that commodity, while other states don't get the benefit, and it may be that you're skewing production in a certain way that doesn't respond to price signals. So the broader point is that we need to make this, if it is a form of insurance, which it is, work throughout India and in a reasonable way across commodities.
Pooja Tripathi sir, CNBC आवाज. Sir, talking about stressed projects, क्या आपको लग रहा है कि सरकार अब उतने कदम उठा चुकी है जिससे कि जो भी स्ट्रेस्ड रुके हुए प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं उनको लेकर अब कुछ रिवाइवल आपको नजर आ रहा है?
No, I think there have been signs that these stressed projects are coming down if you look at the numbers, but the level of these projects that are stressed is pretty large. So I think this is ongoing work and will take some time to clean up. It's not something that is done overnight, but it has to be steady, and we also have to ensure that once the various permissions, roadblocks have been cleared, credit flows to these projects and they actually start up again. So that second part, it is within our area of responsibility to try and ensure that that happens.
Sir, Virendra Singh Gunawat from Aaj Tak India Today Group. जिस तरह से पूरे पॉलिसी में कई बातें कंसर्न्स ज़्यादा हैं और अच्छी खबरें कम हैं, एंड ऊपर से आपने शुरुआत के 2 मिनट में ही काफ़ी कुछ कहा है कि मानसून को लेकर, क्रूड ऑयल के जियोपॉलिटिकल रिस्क को लेकर आपने ये भी कहा है कि भी स्ट्रॉन्ग फूड पॉलिसी एंड मैनेजमेंट विल बी इम्पोर्टेंट टू हेल्प कीप इन्फ्लेशन. ऐसा लग रहा है कि बहुत ही ब्लंटली सवाल है कि ऐसा लग रहा है कि इस पॉलिसी में कहीं वैसी जरूरत नहीं थी कि 25 बेसिस पॉइंट की कटौती करनी चाहिए, या फिर आपको ऐसा क्यों लग रहा है कि इतना तमाम कंसर्न्स हैं इसमें, इन्फ्लेशन को लेके भी है, तो क्या वाकई में आपको लगता है कि वाकई में ब्याज दर की कटौती करना जरूरी था इस वक्त? क्योंकि ऐसा लग रहा है कि अगस्त में जब ये पॉलिसी वापस एक बार आएगी तब शायद ब्याज दर में कटौती नहीं होगी. कहीं एक रूमर ये भी चल रहा था कि वित्त मंत्रालय को खुश करने के लिए पूरी कोशिश की जा रही है.
See, there's a no-win here. If I cut interest rates, it's because I want to please the government. If I don't cut interest rates, it's because I want to have a fight with the government. You got to make up your mind. This is no. Seriously, there is a misimpression that we want to keep interest rates really high because our primary sort of objective is to look really strong and firm. But there's no point in looking strong and firm if you kill the economy in the process. We want to do what is right given our mandate to keep inflation under control. So we are trying to use whatever room we have to undertake the actions that revive the economy. We are under no illusion that the economy, especially investment, is up and running. It is not, and it needs support. We also don't take the view that interest rates are the only thing that matter. There's so many other things that matter. It's it's one part of the overall picture. So all the entities that are involved in generating growth have to contribute, including the banks, including the industrialists, including the government. We are saying that we'll play as much of a part as we can. And in this case, we looked at all the data. We could have waited. But as I said, waiting would probably be a conservative strategy in this environment. We are moving forward, but we're not going to be reckless. We have to wait for data to give us more room if that happens going forward. And so now we are, as before, contingent on the data. And I would say every time we've moved, we've used the available room at that point. And similarly, we've used the available room. This move is no different from the previous moves. It awaits data now.
Should we check if there are questions outside?
Sure.
Inba, can you please check if there are questions outside?
Sure. Participants in the audio bridge, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. We have a question from Manju Dalal of Thomson Reuters. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I have two questions. One is on the global rupee offshore bonds by Indian companies. Mr. Rajan, I wanted to know when would we expect these guidelines to be out? And the second one is, how is RBI viewing the impact of such issuances in future on the NDF market and its consequent impact on the Indian rupee? My second question is on the guidelines issued by the RBI on the cross-holding of the long-term bonds by banks for financing the infra and the affordable housing. I a little bit wanted to understand the rationale behind these caps and restrictions set by the RBI for on such issuance.
I'll talk about the second or the third question you asked and leave the first question to Mr. Khan. On the question about infra bonds, there was a request from the banks that yes, they could issue the bonds, but it would be great if they could trade them also. So they said we just need a small amount to be able to trade them. Of course, our whole intent is that the infra bonds should not be a backdoor way for the banks themselves to all hold it and not issue these bonds outside. The whole point was to encourage additional flows into the banking sector other than through the normal route of deposits via bonds to the infrastructure sector. That's why when they asked for some small limits, we gave them the small limits so as to ensure this doesn't become mutual financing. It's more a facility for them to trade and increase liquidity in the infrastructure bonds. On the first issue of the rupee bonds, perhaps Mr. Khan can respond.
On this rupee bond, we have drawn out the design features and we have sent to government for their views, and as soon as they communicate their views, you should be able to put out the guidelines. And so far as the NDA part is concerned, as you know, our approach has been to see that more and more hedging happens on onshore. That is why we have recently relaxed those currency future guidelines. And we will also facilitate overseas investors who have got exposure to Indian rupee to have access to the hedging market in India. That is our approach and we are working on that. And as Governor said, going forward we will also look at some further relaxations in the regulation to see that there are more reforms in the markets and there are more hedging products and there are more players.